Welcome out to the show, guys. This is Studio 321. This is your podcast host, Eddie B. So maybe somebody can explain this to me because I just don't understand what's going on here. Obviously, we've all been glued to the television. There's like tons of news coming out every day. But here's the thing. So obviously, I'm a Trump guy. I support a lot of the stuff he does. I thought after he got elected that the Democrat Party was going to go home, lick their wounds, figure it out, and then come back more professional, no Trump derangement syndrome anymore, just getting back to basic policy stuff. And I was dead wrong. Because they're nuttier than I've ever seen them now. I can't even understand where this is going. I'm watching them the last couple of days. You saw the whole thing with Bernie talking about the baby onesies. You got Maxine Waters out there screaming. You got all these women talking about wanting to fight in the streets and shut down the city. And we're going to protest. And we need to, Jamie Raskin talking about we're going to march and do all this crazy stuff. And I just don't understand, like, who is directing these people, or is anybody directing them? Because that is a losing argument, man. How do you rally against saving the people money? How do you rally against that? I mean, yes, you're gonna get a basic core of supporters that are gonna stick to you no matter what. But what they're doing is insane. Okay, they're basically up there trying to convince America that we shouldn't cut all this wasteful spending, that it's somehow intrusive on us, and it's not. The problem is that's our tax money that's getting wasted. Then you have Ilhan Omar out here saying, the $40 million a year from USAID, or $40 billion, from USAID is only 1% of the budget. But think about that. $40 billion. What is that to normal people, man? That is insane. All right. So I just don't understand where I can't figure it out. And I'm usually pretty tactical. I usually can understand where something's going, figuring out what they're doing. But this just doesn't make any sense. Maybe they don't have any footing at all, and they don't know what to fight about, so they're just fighting about everything. Look, if I was a Democrat, I would have said, you know what, we're going to bypass this issue and we're going to wait. Like maybe they could fight the Department of Education one, because that's a little more mainstream, and like I'm sure some people would get on board with that or whatever. But to sit here and look America in the face and basically say that we shouldn't cut these spending programs overseas, when on my side, the Republican side, we're holding up these sheets of paper with lists and lists and hundreds of examples of massive corrupt spending. 10 million for this and 10 million for that and a billion for this and everybody watching that scratching their head going like, what the hell have they been doing with our money? I tell you which ones got me actually pretty nervous, to be honest, is when they start auditing the Pentagon. And look, that's the Department of Defense, a massive, massive part of our economy. But this is the thing, man. The Pentagon, in a certain way, is almost like a separate government, okay? The Department of Defense, like, they actually have all the power. The executive branch, and you got the judicial branch. But when you talk about actual power, the Department of Defense has that because they wield the hammer. Those are the ones that physically can do damage. And so that, when you start exposing people within that group, Department of Defense and the Pentagon, now you're getting into some serious stuff with serious people, because these are our war fighters, our three-letter agency type people, our spies, the the people that do the real bad stuff that we're not supposed to know about, yeah, they work in that part of the government. And so, yes, they're Americans and they're also patriots, but you have to understand, it depends on how they view this situation. Are they being attacked by their own government? What's going to happen if that happens? So that part of it, that one, when that comes up, I'm going to be a little on edge. You know, people have died for less. I'll tell you that. You know what I mean? And there's, that is a necessary entity of our government, but they're not all angels in there. And so you have to be a little worried. Again, I hope everybody's got their security on point and everything's good, because I don't know about that part. I'm gonna be watching close, but that one's gonna be a little nerve wracking, and that one will show huge waste and fraud. It will, but you have to understand that the people that could be exposed in this stuff, this type of stuff, are dangerous people. When I sit back and I look at how the Democrats are really freaking out, I think it's a lot different. I don't think this is just ideological battle anymore. I'm watching these people, and to me, it looks like actual fear. And I'm watching them, and I'm thinking to myself, this isn't just people, battling over certain differences between the Democrat and Republican Party. I think it's gone beyond that now. And look, this is the thing. We all know this. If you follow a trail of money, you're going to follow it right to its ending source, right? Well, think about what all this stuff could expose. And I think there's people that, they're basically sitting back going, "Oh my God, I'm in big trouble." So the USAID, obviously that hit a hornet's nest. I did my last podcast talking about that. When Trump brought that up, they all went crazy. So you look at that and you think, well, why would they go crazy over that? Well, that's all that foreign aid money, which, a lot of people say, and I don't know this for a fact, but a lot of people say that's basically a slush fund for three-letter agencies to pay off other governments and do nefarious stuff overseas, and so. And some of that stuff's necessary. A lot of it probably isn't, but that's we don't get to decide on that. So, but here's the thing. So, USAID, he announced it. Boom, they went crazy, right? So then they did now they're kind of attacking the Department of Education. Well, not really attacking it, but they're going through the numbers and looking at their spending. And they're not really freaking out as much about this as they were about USAID. And again, I think, I'm looking at that thinking that's kind of odd. Like, education and teachers unions and all that stuff. And it's not nearly as much of the freak out as it was with the AID. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking there's got to be reasons behind this. Now, think about this. What's going to happen when they get into Medicare? Can you imagine the amount of fraud and abuse and kickbacks and stuff they're going to find in that? It's going to be, I don't even know the magnitude of that, but it's going to be absolutely nuts, because that's a major part of our economy. And think about this. The National Institute of Health, aren't they the ones that were funding all of that Wuhan, the gain of function stuff that Fauci said that they weren't doing? Well, if they get into watching the money trails, they're going to find out 100%. Not only was it true, but where exactly the money went, into exactly what accounts, and who was signing for these things to be allotted. And now you're talking about real criminal prosecutions. You're talking about people going to prison for a long time. You're bringing back up the Fauci stuff. Of course, he was pardoned, but that doesn't matter. All you got to do is pull him in, put him in front of Congress, catch him lying, which he'll have to do to cover himself, and then you get them on a perjury. But think about it. So you've got all these individual government agencies that they're going at kind of one at a time, right? So it started with USAID. They went crazy. Department of Education, man, they're kind of mild on that, which was surprising. But again, I don't think there's a lot of scandals in that, and a lot of kickbacks and a lot of money laundering and stuff. So I don't, they're probably not too worried about it. But then you're going to get into what? You're going to get into Medicare, Medicaid. That's going to be a mess, I'm telling you right now. And then, you know what? The National Institute of Health, you're going to start finding out about all this gain of function money for these secret laboratories overseas. And it's just going to go nuts. I think in the next, I'm gonna guess over the next 6 months, it's going to be a solid, every week something else coming out big. And, this is going to be a wild ride, man. I hope that Trump can keep his backbone, and I'm sure he will, man, because he wouldn't have started it like this if he wasn't ready to go. So I hope he can keep it together, man, and just keep pushing forward. It's going to be a mess. I hope that people around him have the strength and the energy, actually, to keep moving at the pace they're moving, because it's, it reminds me of, and again, I'm a history buff. I'm always talking about that on my podcast. It reminds me of, they call it blitzkrieg, which was this style of war the Germans fought in World War II. And blitzkrieg means lightning war. And what they would do is they would find an area that they were going to attack, and they would put so many troops and so many tanks and so many planes and resources, and they would just overwhelm that area so intensely that there was no stopping it. Sometimes they would move so fast forward that they would actually blow past the opposing army and not even have completely destroyed them yet. Now they're already moving on to the next army. And countries didn't know how to deal with that, So it reminds me of the blitzkrieg. It's that lightning war style, You move so fast that the opposition can't dig in. They don't have any time to set themselves up to defend against it. And I really believe that's what Trump's doing, and I hope he can keep the pace, because he's got them on their heels. But man, I tell you, I think some real serious stuff is about to come out. And again, misrepresenting money, sending it to the wrong place, doing all the transgender stuff, that's just bad politics, and that's going to cost you an election. But I think it goes much deeper than that, because when I'm watching these Democrats, I see real fear, like fear for their safety and for their and for their freedom. And I think a lot of them know they've been involved in a lot of nefarious stuff, and it's about to come back to them. And look, there's probably some Republicans involved in here somewhere back down the line too. But you know what? Just take it, take the investigation where it goes, and let's get them all out of there. Anybody that was doing some bad stuff with our money, we need to get them out of there so we can realign everything. But anyways, guys, if you like my video, please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel. This is Studio 321. I'm your podcast host, Eddie B, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.